President Putin, and I think that leaders are also looking forward to your thoughts about the meeting with President Putin later on.
Well, I have to say, I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia, because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a very bad thing for NATO, and I don't think it should have happened. And I think we have to talk to Germany about it. On top of that, Germany is just paying a little bit over 1%, whereas the United States, in actual numbers, is paying 4.2% of a much larger GDP. So I think that's inappropriate also. You know, we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting everybody, and yet we're paying a lot of money to protect. Now, this has been going on for decades. This has been brought up by other presidents, but other presidents never did anything about it, because I don't think they understood it, or they just didn't want to get involved. But I have to bring it up because I think it's very unfair to our country, it's very unfair to our taxpayer. And I think that these countries have to step it up, not over a 10-year period, they have to step it up immediately. Germany is a rich country. They talk about they're going to increase it a tiny bit by 2030. Well, they could increase it immediately tomorrow and have no problem. I don't think it's fair to the United States. So we're going to have to do something, because we're not going to put up with it. We can't put up with it, and it's inappropriate. So we have to talk about the billions and billions of dollars that's being paid to the country that we're supposed to be protecting you against. You know, everybody's talking about it all over the world. They'll say, well, wait a minute, we're supposed to be protecting you from Russia, but why are you paying billions of dollars to Russia for energy? Why are countries in NATO, namely Germany, having a large percentage of their energy needs paid, you know, to Russia and taken care of by Russia? Now, if you look at it, Germany is a captive of Russia, because they got rid of their coal plants, they got rid of their nuclear. They're getting so much of the oil and gas from Russia. I think it's something that NATO has to look at. I think it's very inappropriate. You and I agree that it's inappropriate. I don't know what you can do about it now, but it certainly doesn't seem to make sense that they pay billions of dollars to Russia, and now we have to defend them against Russia.
You know, NATO is an alliance of 29 nations, and there are sometimes differences and different views, and also some disagreements. And the gas pipeline from Russia to Germany is one issue where allies disagree. But the strength of NATO is that despite these differences, we have always been able to unite around our core task to protect and defend each other, because we understand that we are stronger together than apart. I think that 2 world wars and the Cold War taught us that we are stronger together than apart.
But how can you be together when a country is getting its energy from the person you want protection against, or from the group that you want protection?
Because we understand that when we stand together, also when dealing with Russia, we are stronger. I think what we have seen is that...
No, you're just making Russia richer.
Well,
you're not dealing with Russia, you're making Russia richer.
So I think that even during the Cold War, NATO allies were trading with Russia. Then there have been disagreements about what kind of trade arrangements we should go into.
I think trade is wonderful. I think energy is a whole different story. I think energy is a much different story than normal trade. And you have a country like Poland that won't accept the gas. You take a look at some of the countries, they won't accept it because they don't want to be captive to Russia. But Germany, as far as I'm concerned, is captive to Russia because it's getting so much of its energy from Russia. So we're supposed to protect Germany, but they're getting their energy from Russia. Explain that. And it can't be explained, you know that.
All right, thank you, press. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you. Thank you, press. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are all the migrants that came last night, are they all requesting asylum?
I can't answer that question because, as I said, the conversations with them just started today. Certainly, if that is their wish, that is their right. So we're and the organizations that are here, particularly the ones that deal with legal supports, are going to be making sure they understand specifically what the objective is.
Thank you for that. And Governor Abbott's office said that they sent 95 migrants, but in the conference it was mentioned only 75 came. So were 20 sent to other states?
I can't account for that. I know what our head count was, so I can just tell you the people that were here. Obviously, we took great care in making sure that we understood and accounted for everybody who got off the bus.
All right, Nate Fox.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, good afternoon to you. In terms of the timeline, can you talk at all, just for folks that are really trying to understand the process? I know we're addressing the immediate needs right now in terms of healthcare and all of that, but moving forward, what is a timeline that we're realistically giving these migrants in terms of when kids will be able to go to school, when folks will be able to work? What can we stand behind?
Some of that is going to depend, obviously, on what they want to do, meaning, are they staying here? Are they going elsewhere? What are the circumstances that they're under? I mean, we had a couple of people last night who needed medical care. So it really is, I can't give you a definitive answer. We want to make them comfortable. We want to make sure that we're attending to their needs. And obviously there were a number of small children, some that were younger than preschool, so one or 2 years old. But the older kids, we want to absolutely make sure that they get settled into wherever they're going to be, whether it's here or elsewhere, and then obviously get them integrated into schools.
I got you. And then my second question is, I know you're not able to give a budget amount just yet. I did hear you say we haven't budgeted for this, but in terms of just speaking to critics who may say, hey, Chicago already has a huge homeless problem. Chicago already has a problem with mental health. How do we assure that those resources that may be devoted to those areas that won't be cut by this move?
Well, let me just push back a little bit on your premise. I don't think it's right to say that we have a huge homelessness problem. I don't know of any city across the country, certainly not any major or mid-city, that doesn't have people who are either on the street or housing unstable. So we are doing that. Again, that work is led by some really great people at the Department of Family and Support Services. We are not going to be in a situation where we detract from the services that we provide our residents on a daily basis by opening up our arms and welcoming the migrants who came here to our city. But we're not, I don't anticipate a circumstance where we're going to see that. Now, do we have unlimited funds? Of course not. No city government does. But I'm also confident that our partners that are with us in the philanthropic community and generous individuals, if there's a need, that they will also step up, because it's that we've seen that happen time and again, right? Through the pandemic, we didn't anticipate that we're going to have that kind of crisis, and very generous people stepped up, took money out of their own pocket, provided food, clothing, shelter. I have no doubt if that need is there, we will sound the clarion call, and people will respond.
Yes, ma'am.
On Ukraine, did the discussion come up with President Zelensky about a no-fly zone?
Yeah.
What did he have to say about that, and where do you stand on that?
Well, I've had last week and this week conversations with the Speaker of the Parliament of Ukraine, and that was and correspondence that he's sent us and the rest. That has always been one of the things they ask for. But they know that we can't go there. Putin is trying to bait the trap so that we go in, and that's the beginning, could be the beginning of World War III. Putin totally irresponsible using weapons that are not allowed under the Geneva Convention. Putin, who threatens use of chemical weapons, nuclear, and the rest. So they know that we can't, but it's the ask. Now, he was this morning more. If we can't have a no-fly zone, let us have our own, and we need the airplanes to come in. And that is what that is that there are planes that the Ukraine pilots are trained on, and these are some of the planes that are in Poland. Poland said that they would do it if America said yes. America said yes, and now they want backfill. That's, in other words, if we give these to Ukraine, then we want to. But this morning he was less on the ask for the policy, more on let us do it, help us get the planes. But also there is a school of thought that thinks the anti-aircraft missiles and the rest are a very important way. Myself, when I see those tanks, that 40 miles of tanks, I'd like to take out those tanks. I mean, I think that them having more planes might be useful, but that I'm not a military strategist. We hope that we will be able to get up to a place. I hope. You asked me how. I hope that we can get to a place where the MiGs, which are the kinds of planes they've been trained on, can go to Ukraine. The F-16s, especially if we have an excess of them, can backfill for Poland. I'll take one more. Yes, sir.
Madam Speaker, regarding your conversation with President Zelensky,
yes.
You mentioned he asked for a number of things. It sounded like that would go beyond the $14 billion that's currently under consideration.
Excuse me, it would go beyond what?
The $14 billion that's under consideration.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We're talking about
additional. Well, if we do, yeah. What we have right now, the 13 point whatever it is, $1 billion, defense, humanitarian assistance, and economic assistance, could be loan guarantees, all that. The 2 million now refugees, we're going to have to see what all of us have to do working together, the NATO and other countries. It's beyond NATO wanting to be helpful. So we'll just see what it is. And, of course, in the rebuilding of the country, the loan guarantees will be helpful. But all of us will have to do more. But we'll see what it is and how long this war takes, because when you're talking about rebuilding, bless his beautiful soul and courage, you're talking about winning a war and moving on from there. I'm just going to close and tell you this because you reminded me of it. When I was in school, I attended the inauguration of John F. Kennedy. Were any of you alive then? You were alive, but you weren't there. You were not too young to be there. You were in sixth grade? Well, I was in school too, but I won't go into the grade. And in the speech, all of you know, even in sixth grade, you probably learned that he said, to the citizens of America, ask not what America can do for you, but what our country can do for you, but what you can do for our country. Remember that? You know that? Okay. The very next line, being majoring in political science and all that, the very next line is what I took away. The very next line is, to the citizens of the world, ask not what America can do for you, but what we can do working together for the freedom of mankind. And that's what President Biden has been doing, working together. Working together. And some of the initiatives that go forward, others take the lead, some, but we are all on the same page. And when we were in Munich for the Munich Security Conference just a couple weeks ago, a week and a half or so, people were so complimentary. We met with heads of state, heads of this, heads of that, so complimentary of our president and how collaboration, working together, not condescension or any collaboration. So I'm very proud of where the president has gotten us on this.